He rips off the noses, then the ears, and then the arms and the legs. He's a maniac. We call him my brother. People think we're crazy.
Meet Barney the Labradoodle, and meet his brother, comedian and screenwriter Michael Kahan, whose podcast, Funny and Failure, has a guest list that reads like a who's who of Hollywood. We get to know Barney and Michael today on Industry Pets. Michael, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great. Thank you for inviting me.
You're in Australia.
I am. I live in Melbourne, but as you can probably see in the background, I'm on holiday and I forgot all my podcast equipment. So I'm very sorry for using this stuff. And I'm in Broadbeach, Queensland, and it's very nice and sunny. And I'm very spoiled with a really beautiful view.
That's awesome. Did you bring your dogs on vacation with you? Or your dog on vacation with you?
I did not. I was thinking about it, but he hates flying. So I actually share custody with him, which is hilarious. So he stays with my parents for most of the week, and then he stays with me and my girlfriend for part of the week, but he hates flying and I can't do that to him.
That is awesome. So he's a two household dog.
He is. He's very spoiled. He gets the best of both worlds.
Grandparents spoil their dogs like nothing else. Would you agree?
I agree. So we call him my brother because we're not sure, because my parents would call him, that would be the parents. So he's probably a brother, but then my grandpa lives with my parents. So we're not even sure what to call everyone, but my grandpa spoils him the most because he always drops his food. So Barney always comes and sits next to him when he's eating, and he's gotten very fat in the last few years because of it.
So how did you come up with the name Barney?
Well, I hope my mum's not listening. I came up with some terrible names knowing that she would eventually pick Barney. I really like the name Barney, but it may have been a combination of Barney, Barney the dinosaur, because he kind of reminded me of a Barney when we saw the photos. And then just the name kind of just sprung into my head. But my mum had some terrible names if he was going to be a girl, and it was going to be like Rosie and Petal and all these various different feminine flowers, which is quite beautiful, but our dog definitely doesn't resonate with that type of name. So probably Barney from the kids' TV show. I had two previous dogs many, many years ago, and my parents don't drink, so I thought it would be hilarious to name my dogs Champagne and Whiskey. And you can imagine the dogs always would run out of the house, and you hear my mum scream Champagne, Whiskey, and all the neighbours thought she had a serious drinking problem, and that would happen for years. So not quite as funny as Champagne and Whiskey. But
does he have any funny nicknames?
We call him Barnacles, which people think is hilarious.
What kind of quirky things does Barney do?
He's got a very weird taste for certain fruits. He loves to wake us up when we're sleeping. So he will lick our face to let us know when he's hungry. He's actually obsessed with his toys. He's got a lot of toys, and my girlfriend buys him too many. But essentially, if he's bored and we're working, he'll drop a toy in our lap. And that's probably the most annoying thing, is because whether we're on a call or a podcast or my girlfriend's working, he'll just come and drop the toy. And if it's a squeaky one, he'll squeeze the little toy. Like all dogs, which I've never been able to figure out, when there's kind of like grass or mud, sometimes he'll love to do that thing where they like tumble into it. And I wouldn't say that's a nice quirk, but that's, yeah.
So what are his top 3 dog toys?
He has probably gone through at least 20 toys in the last 2 months because he loves to slowly destroy them. He's a harmless dog, very cute dog. He to answer your question first, he rips off the noses, then the ears, and then the arms and the legs. He's a maniac. So I don't know what his favorites would have been. It's probably the ones that have the most limbs, but normally little animal toys. So we normally get like, your stock standard toys, or like dragons or elephants or giraffes. And by the end of it, you don't know what you're looking at.
Totally dismembered.
Yeah.
So does Barney like to go outside and on hikes or go to dog parks?
He's a lazy dog. You often find him sleeping on just everything. We had to take away his dog bed because we called it his wife, so he'll find a way to sleep on just random things, but he loves to go outside. The dog park's probably his favorite. He's not as social with other dogs. He'll talk to all the dogs, but when he sees them, if they're taking up too much of his time, he wants to go for that walk. So it's mainly dog parks and just tracks around the area, but he could do it for a few hours if he had the opportunity.
Dogs have a lot of empathy and understanding. There's something going on there under the hood in their brain. It's truly amazing. What are some examples of Barney being a great companion?
That is a great question, and I'd love to understand it fully about the connection with dogs in particular. The empathy, they call him a man's best friend for a reason. There's just this beautiful connection. I had someone on my podcast who's written like 5 books about dogs and the connections with animals and how they really connect to us, and I see them as a gift to humanity in a sense. 2 stories that spring to mind that really highlight Barney's empathy is my grandfather, and he's okay before I tell you the story. He had a fall and he couldn't get up, and he said he injured his back, and we didn't want to move him in case something serious had happened, which it didn't. So as we're trying to figure out what to do, and Barney comes running and drops a toy on his stomach and just sits there because he knows if he sits, he's going to get a treat. And then he starts licking my grandfather because he could tell that he was in pain, which we all thought was hilarious, in particular my grandfather. Another time, my girlfriend, she was sick. I don't know if she had the cold, COVID or whatever, and she was lying in bed, and Barney, he just sat by her the entire few days, and if she went anywhere to the bathroom or she went to get food, he'd follow her, and he just kind of just sat there and, licked her a little bit and then just gave her the love that she needed. So Barney won my girlfriend over because of that.
How does having Barney in your life affect your mental health?
It helps in every regard, just to see that unconditional love. When you walk into the house and he's there to greet you and he's so excited, and it doesn't matter how your day's been, Barney's always there, or dogs in general are always there to just look at you, give you that love. It really amplifies one's joy and happiness. So when my parents had him for longer periods, I've been out of the house for close to 2 years, I definitely felt that void. And now that we've got this positive shared custody, my day is definitely a lot better seeing him and just being able to play with him. There's a nurturing aspect from both sides. I really think that having a pet, in particular dog, is just so wonderful for one's mental well-being, joy, and just overall outlook. Just to see, Barney or a dog in a different light, that how they're just always happy. And it's a nice reminder that, we can achieve, or we can strive to be kind of like dogs as well.
Are there any special rules to owning a dog in Australia versus the States?
You guys have got rabies. We don't have rabies, so I don't know how that works in regard to America. A lot of the breeders that I've experienced or spoken with other people, highly ethical, and there's a lot of rules there. I think it is quite hard in America to adopt a dog. I don't think it's as hard to adopt a dog in Australia.
How did Barney originally come into your life?
So as I mentioned, we had 2 previous dogs, and we absolutely loved them, and then there was a bit of, they passed away. And then for years we wanted a pet, but we just didn't think we could do it. And I think someone mentioned to my mum that they found this highly ethical breeder, and we could see that their dog was just very well trained, very smart, and we were quite surprised that my mum actually looked through it and I think she would have had at least 2 to 4 hours speaking to the breeder and explained their process, because my mum's very, very ethical person in terms of how things are grown just in general, including obviously pets. And I think she fell in love with the breeder, and then we got to get to know the breeder and through some information, and then they showed us a picture, and as soon as we saw the picture of Barney, we were like, he has to be part of the family.
If your dog could turn human for one night, what would he do?
I think he would go into all the closets, make the worst food possible, and eat everything that he could. I think he would go straight to food. It's his number one priority.
Nice. And if he was a human, what kind of human food would he make?
Probably the quickest. I would say, maybe eggs, go straight to, old pasta that's not even made. I don't think he would make anything. I don't think he'd have the patience.
He would just enjoy those thumbs and just eat as much as he can.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you ever conversate with Barney? Do you talk to him like a person sometimes?
We do, and people think, me and my girlfriend Kaylee, we do, and people think we're crazy. And some other family members, my brother thinks we're crazy when he comes over and he sees us explaining to Barney where we're going, and we will talk to him at times. We definitely think that he can understand us. To what degree, we don't know. But he knows what's going on, and we'll explain when we're going out because he always looks very sad or upset. Or if we say walk, for example, we can't say walk in the whole family because he knows what that means, and he will come sprinting. Doesn't matter where he is. So we have to use we have to say we're going for a W because he doesn't know what that means. So I think the proof's in the pudding. He understands, and yes, we do.
That is awesome. Well, Michael, thanks for being on the show. Tell everybody watching how what you got going on and how they can get a hold of you.
Thank you. Appreciate being here. I love the concept of this podcast. So if people are interested, they can check out my podcast, Funny in Failure. That's on all the podcast apps. I do a bit of screenwriting, and I'm looking to sell some of the screenplays. So if you're interested and you're a producer, but mainly Funny in Failure, and I get to chat to awesome entertainers about some of their low points and their challenges and how they've overcome it to achieve success and happiness and all of the above. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael. You have a great day.